If you don't own any real estate yet, go out and buy a quadruplex. And if I lived in one of them and I rented out the other three, not only are you living somewhere for free, but you're getting the tax write-offs, getting your mortgage tax write-offs, living there for free, staying for a couple of years, and then go from a fourplex to a triplex to a duplex to a house. I don't know why everybody's not doing that.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest is based in Athens, Georgia, was the youngest person in Florida to earn a real estate license, former firm owner, now an associate broker with eXp, and has previous experience as a licensed loan officer, mortgage broker, and is currently shifting her business into the next chapter. Please welcome Lisa Bernstein. Lisa, welcome to the show. I always like to start off at the top, Lisa, by asking folks, how they got into the real estate space.
As you said, I was young, and after high school, I would go to my grandmother's job and hang out with her. And she worked at a real estate firm as a bookkeeper. And they would say, oh, we need this document to go to this office or title company. And I was sitting there, I had a little yellow Volkswagen Bug, and I would take documents. It was like a carrier, like back in the mid 80s.
Yeah.
And would see people working, females dressed nicely. And I asked my grandmother, well, what do they do? How can I do that? She's like, well, you just have to take a test and be 18. And I was like, well, I'm good at tests. So it started that way.
And so was your grandmother a mentor? Was your grandmother at all a mentor to you in the real estate space?
She was my mentor in life. I love my grandmother. She raised me, but she didn't have anything to do with real estate other than being a bookkeeper for a real estate firm.
And so at that point in time, this must have all been new to you, and being so young, and it was Florida, right?
It is. Mm-hmm. It was, yeah.
It must have been a lot of things to learn, and I can imagine too, maybe not necessarily all the resources in the world to learn everything because you're so young. What was that first year like in the real estate space?
It was so hard. They don't prepare you for how challenging it can be. And even a hard worker and a hustler, it's still challenging. The money outpour rather than, coming in. I will have to say that my high school teacher, I remembered him saying in economics class he wanted to sell a house. And so I went and knocked on his door, and God bless him and his wife. I mean, it was a painful presentation, like flip chart, and he just sat there and listed his house with would sell it. But yeah, not everyone was so patient and kind.
That first couple years in the real estate space, were you fallen in love with real estate, or were you thinking, man, this is hard? Or were you thinking, let me just see how this goes because this is my first kind of foray into a career?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
I couldn't financially stay in the residential real estate space. I happened to see an ad for timeshare sales where they were offering $250 a week, and all you needed was a real estate license. So I quickly went into that part of the business and became shockingly one of the best timeshare salespeople, always in the top 3 in Florida. And then I got recruited to an office in California, San Diego area. I would just say whatever they
So
told me to say 'cause money.
some nice weather areas, right? Where in Florida, and then you mentioned San Diego, but where in Florida were you based out of at that time?
Yeah, I sold at the Catalina Beach Club in South Daytona Beach, and then went over when we sold that one out over to Westgate Vacation Villas in Orlando. There's actually a little show about that woman. And then after that was recruited to California to Glen Ivy. They had beautiful properties.
Now, Florida, California, you're in Georgia right now. A lot of places I think that certainly had their peaks and valleys. I'd say right now, every real estate person that I know, seemingly once they've scaled a business to a certain point in time, either is moving their business to Florida or is thinking about moving their business to Florida. At that point in time, I mean, Florida must have been a totally different space. You moved to San Diego, you mentioned, but what was the real estate space like in Florida at that time?
It was it was smaller, like for example, I remember selling a house and it sold for $80,000 and my 3% was like $2,400. And then, I had to split that with my broker. So it was challenging because the pricing at that time was so low. But now the pricing is up because, talk about people wanting to move their business to Florida. There's no state tax. I mean, in comparison to California, if you're making good money, that's a lot of money you could be saving, sometimes 6 figures.
It's a huge difference, right? I mean, the regionality of your business and of real estate in general impacts people in so many different ways. I want to pivot here a bit, Lisa, and ask you about your growth within the real estate space. You've been involved in a number of different niches within real estate. You mentioned loan officer, mortgage banker, sold a firm. You've been in different markets in the U.S. Were there any significant pivot points or moments that were maybe aha moments or something where you said, okay, this is really working and I'm going to double down on this?
When I went from a mortgage banker to a real estate agent, and I did that because at the time I had 2 young children and I needed a little bit more flexibility from working in mortgage banking lifestyle. I could not seem to find success. I had all of the skills. I had more knowledge than most real estate agents, and I just couldn't seem to figure out how to get my phone to ring. And so finally, I learned about Mike Ferry, his coaching, and I found out that really a successful real estate agent is a telemarketer and door-to-door salesperson, and you just got to get rid of your
Yeah.
ego, get out there and just start making phone calls. I mean, just like having a schedule where I would go in, become completely professional, always dress in a suit, put my headset on and just dial for dollars for 3 to 4 hours a day. Then in the afternoon, I'd want to get out of the office, get some fresh air, and I would door knock. And I'm a very good door knocker.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
I don't mind just, hi, how are you? I'm calling or stopping by because there's this
Yeah.
house on the street and I want to invite you to an open house. I mean, you can say whatever, but you just have to get out there. You can't just sit on your computer and wait for something to happen. It just doesn't work. You'll die of financial
I've
suicide.
that's right. I had an early mentor in the real estate space before I was a realtor tell me that real estate is a contact sport, and that has since been even more true as time has gone by. And as much as people want to, you know, do this remotely and do as much as they can from maybe a desktop, there's an element of real estate which will, because it's people's homes, that's where they live, which will always be kind of rubbing shoulders with people, shaking hands, meeting people, knocking doors you mentioned. I don't think that'll go away. As you've grown in the business and you've seen shifts in the business, has that mentality still stayed with you where it's, I still have to be treating it like it is, a contact sport?
When COVID happened, that was really when everything shut down. And at that point, that's when I realized even more to reach out, to call, check in, see how people were doing. Do you need any services? Can I be helpful in any way? Like, do you need a vendor or do you have questions? Sometimes people just want someone to talk with about the real estate market. I mean, it is in most cases, their largest investment. They want to know, how much did that house sell for? What's happening? Should I be worried? Should I double down and buy some investment property? So I think that as time goes by, and there's so much cool things happening in the AI world, and there's so much technology, and yet it's so important to go back to the basics, to go back to the things that always will work. Hello, how are you doing?
Right.
Those.
That's right. I drove from Houston, or I took a bus down from Houston, or from Dallas to Houston this weekend to meet up with a real estate guy. And, just the synergy that you can get versus a Zoom call or versus, it's still there. Nothing's going to replace that, I think. But I want to pivot a bit here, Lisa, and ask you about the investing world. So you mentioned before hopping on the podcast here, shifting and focusing on some investments and having dollars work for you, right? Mini workers.
That's right.
What
They're soldiers,
vertical?
money soldiers.
That's right, mini soldiers. What vertical within the investing world are you looking at, or has caught your eye? There's so many different verticals that people can get into: single family, multifamily, commercial, residential, land deals. They can do hard money loans.
You know, during preparing for this podcast, I was thinking about what would my message be? What would I want to share to someone who, 20 years ago, so someone in their 20s and 30s. And what I decided is that, number one, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm going to tell you that the first thing that you have to do is you just have to visualize it. So I went to a Thinking Big trip with some Mastermind, and I got in my head this number of 24 properties. I wanted to own 24 doors. And on the flight home, I spent the whole time wrapping my head around it. And what I realized is that my first instinct was to be negative. So I thought, well, 24 doors, how could I do that? why me? I come from a very poor background. Why do I deserve to have that? And so it was interesting to even start to realize some of the things that I was saying to myself. And then I had to start.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Training my brain, like, why not me? And what would that look like? And how could I do that? So I really believe in the power of, you have to first see it, then believe it to really achieve it. I know that sounds corny. We've heard that a bunch, but like, for example, little things like my password forever was $540K pass a year, right? I really wanted 540,000. At one point, we were bringing in $45,000 a month in income, and somebody realized, hey, isn't that 540? And I was like, damn, I wish I'd have said more. So just having those goals in everything that you do, I really feel like that's important to have. First thing.
Yeah, it's no question. I think a lot of people when they're just starting out might think, okay, I want to reach X amount of dollars, and they might do a note card or they might do a password like you did, right? But there's also goals along the way, right? Kind of steps that show you that you're making progress, because otherwise you could kind of get lost in the journey and say, well, where am I making progress? But it might not be as easy to track. Did you have kind of those mini metrics along the way so that you could stay focused on the long-term goal?
Yeah, I totally believe in not saying, oh, I want to buy a shopping center, at the beginning. I feel like it's so important to start small. And there are two things that I would suggest, especially for someone who's kind of at the beginning stages. And number one, I would say, if you don't own any real estate yet, go out and buy a quadruplex. And it's
Yep.
interesting. So I was preparing for today's call and I was thinking, okay, so we just bought a quad. In our market, this is a real life experience. So we bought this cute little quad for $340,000. They're four 1-bedroom, 1-bath units, okay? And we paid, and this was non-owner. So if you did an owner occupied, you could get an FHA loan. You could get the seller to help you with your closing costs, right? So here's what I came up with. At 6.5% FHA, including MI, your mortgage would be $2735. That includes $150 for taxes, $150 for insurance. Now, again, do your own math for wherever you are. But if I have, and we took these 4 units, and if I lived in one of them and I rented out the other 3 at $950 a month, where one of them's already getting over 1,000, but let's go low and say $950 a month, right? That
Sure.
would bring your 3 units to $2,850. Your PITI is $2,735. So the thing is that not only are you living somewhere for free, but you're getting the tax write-offs. Then what I would do is I would take the money that I'd spend in rent and also what I want to invest and bring that property up so that you can slowly increase your monthly rents for the other 3 units. And then right now, because of this big, beautiful bill that Trump has come out with, you also get accelerated depreciation. So if you are improving your product, getting some accelerated depreciation tax write-offs, getting your mortgage tax write-offs, living there for free, staying for a couple of years, and then go from a fourplex to a triplex to a duplex to a house. It really should be that easy. I don't know why everybody's not doing that. I tell my daughter who's 22, get ready. This is what you're doing. And the problem is that some of these kids are used to like the fancy little things that their moms and dads have put them in through college or whatever. You've got to be able to scale
Yeah.
that down. You've got to say, okay, I'm going to live in a little not best part of town, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. I know this doesn't have all the amenities that my rent would have, but suck it up, buttercup, for just a little bit, because those are the steps that are necessary to get you where you want to go eventually.
The quadplex idea is so, I'd say, great. And also, people don't think about it as much, I'd say, from outside of the real estate world and sometimes in, because it almost seems like, well, I can't, I'm a new college grad or I'm young. I can't qualify for a single family home. Why would I qualify for a quadplex? That's 4 units. They're not going to qualify me. But the
Yeah.
lenders are looking at it the opposite way. They're like, you're a young person. You maybe have a college degree, but you have no work experience or very limited work experience. And so if you default on this, we need some other collateral. And the collateral is going to be, we have 3 other renters in there. It's a cash flowing deal. And so even if you're not paying, those other 3 people are paying. Right.
That's
And
so
so
true.
it makes so much more, especially in a high rent area where this is going to be like kind of a win-win on all sides. And so for as long as this strategy works and is around, I'd say all young people should be looking at the quadplexes, right?
Then take it, because now you want to get into a triplex, right? And then go to a duplex, because an underwriter is going to believe, because you are, but you can't go from a single family house to an owner occupied fourplex with an underwriter going, well, that makes sense, because it doesn't really make sense. So the best course of action to start with would be going that way. Now, by the time you own a house, you've got 8 doors working for you, right? Wait, no, 9.
It's a huge, I'd say, a huge niche to be involved in, and an area where a lot of people are not thinking about it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who may be listening to this podcast and other podcasts that I've done from outside the real estate world thinking like, my son or my daughter couldn't get into a quadplex. But if they go talk to some lenders, they'll actually see none of this is easy or straightforward. I'm from northern New Jersey. I live in North Dallas right now. I know the price of homes where I'm from in northern New Jersey, and to qualify for a single family home where I'm from in northern New Jersey, you need like $220,000 a year. So a different situation, while not necessarily traditional, can get people in a way where they can start their ownership career at a young age. But Lisa, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go if maybe they are in the Athens, Georgia area, or if they'd like to reach out to you, or if they have a property or a deal they'd like you to look at?
Yeah, I would love to talk with anyone that I've got some money in my pocket. We just sold a couple of deals. And so if anybody's looking for an investor, you can go to our website, athensgahomes.com, or you can call me directly. My number is 706-765-7441. And I always pick up the phone.
Lisa, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great talking with you, Dylan.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.